So actually, before I invite Stephanie to the conversation, so I'll be talking with Stephanie from Therapy Untangled. She's a therapist. She's my friend back from Venezuela. So we would actually be having this conversation in Spanish, but we will do it in English because I know, in fact, let me know if you don't speak Spanish to make sure that we are doing the right thing by having this conversation in English so more people can understand what we're saying. And probably I will have her on the podcast doing a conversation in Spanish later this year. But for now, we will keep it in English. So I'll be inviting Stephanie. This is hard. Stephanie, how do I invite you? I'm not that good with lives. So I'll figure it out very soon. Don't worry here. She sent a request, and now go live with Stephanie. Dun, dun, dun.
Hello! How are you?
I want to say I'm good, but I'll be better after this conversation.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
This is the first time we have a conversation in English, so this is super, super weird.
I know, but we've got this.
We got this, 100%.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. I swear the other day I was freaking out. The other day is like yesterday, right? The day before yesterday, I was freaking out with the coronavirus and how it started affecting me. And then I'm like, what? I was not expecting this. So I was about to call you and ask you all the things that you're so good at telling me every time, mostly about radical acceptance and so many other topics, but I think that's a really core one that can help me get through so many situations. And then I'm like, no, we need to do this live so more people can hear what you're going to tell me, because I need this right now so much.
I think we all need it. I think I'm going to tell you, but I'm also going to be telling me. I was talking right now to a friend and I'm like, I need to hear my own words. I think we're all being affected by this coronavirus in major ways. 100%. You'll tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on so everybody can relate. We're all in this together. So it is hard. It is hard. And I'm so glad these types of concepts and tools exist, because those are the tools that are going to help us get through this a little bit more peacefully and being able to manage our own emotions, right?
So important, because the thing is that we literally can't do anything about it. This is happening. Either we like it or not. I mean, nobody likes it. And it's sooner or later going to affect all of us. And I've had conversations with people in many different industries, and I always ask the same question: how is this affecting you or your industry? And many people are saying not at all, but I think that it's only a matter of time. And then there are other industries that this affect them directly, right? Like people in the travel industry, for sure. And in my industry, I'm a speaker. We depend 100%. Well, I'm not going to generalize, but many speakers depend 100% on the events. And now they're canceling every event out there, and I have no idea how long this is going to last. So Adam and
that's the bad part.
Right. If we knew this is just a month, we're like, we can hold on and get through this. But we don't know. We don't know if this is going to last 1, 2, 6 months, and all of our income basically comes from that. So it's really hard to accept the fact that we won't be making literally any money for I don't know how many months, and that we need to stop spending. And it's like, I don't know if we were expecting this.
I don't think none of us were expecting this. I mean, for me, it affected me because my husband is doing a program in Boston, and he has been preparing for months and months and months to present his project tomorrow, and he had to cancel his flight, and he's not there. His whole group is there, and he's just here while all of them are presenting this big project, and he's suffering, and obviously me as his wife, there's nothing I can do except just be there. And it's also hard to be there when I'm in my own stress of dealing with kids that maybe they're coughing, and I just need to make sure that they're okay. And there's a lot of stress and a lot of chaos going on around. And in the group chats, I don't know if you've lived it with your friends and your family, like all this news coming in, and you just don't know what to believe or what not to believe, and you're out there, and I really believe it affects us all. And there's also this uncertainty going on of what's going to happen. When is this going to stop? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to get better? We start questioning everything, and it's not easy, 100%. Michelle, I see people that are coming in and not sure what this is about. Remember to put it pin it.
Yeah. Right. I wrote it and completely
I
forgot.
saw.
Here it is. Let me pin.
There it is. You pinned it. Perfect.
I pinned it? No. I did? I don't think so.
No, you haven't. No.
No. It's always so hard. Do you have a strategy for
no.
a hack? Oh, there. Pin comment. I did it! So, guys,
amazing.
For everybody that just came into the conversation and you're super lost and you're like, I like what they're saying, but I have no idea where they're going with this. We're going to talk about radical acceptance. Stephanie from Therapy Untangled right here. She is amazing. She has so many tools. And the reason why I know about this is because she has this, how do you call it? A class?
Workshop.
A workshop. Three-part workshop.
Yeah, right? I just added 1 day, so it's going to be 4 next time.
4-part workshop every time, and it's in different days, right? And then every time she talks about something, I think, different or the same, but in a different way. How is it structured?
So it's a 4-day workshop. It's 1 day a week, and the reason why I do it 1 day a week is because there's such important concepts, and they go people really go deep into what's going on and how to apply them into their lives, and they're very impactful. That I want to give them a week to process it and start applying it into their own lives. That's why I have a week in between. But it basically, yes, every week I touch upon a different theme. The first one, which was the one that Michelle came, it was actually a surprise. Michelle told me that day, I'm coming to your workshop. And that first day I touch upon radical acceptance, that I believe we need the concept and the tool of radical acceptance to do anything, to do literally every single tool that I give on my Instagram. You have to first apply the radical acceptance concepts. If not, there's no way it works. And that's
funny, because when I told you that I was going to your workshop, I thought I was going to be there to support you, maybe help out in some way. But it was no, this was so helpful for me. And I thought because I read your Instagram a lot, I thought that I knew everything that you have to say. No. Guys, you have no idea how helpful it was, because right after I attended the workshop about radical acceptance, I decided to move from New York to Miami. And just that class helped me so much with that transition. And then not only with the transition, but now with this coronavirus situation. Because what can I say the main thing that I learned that day, and then you can talk more about that?
Of course.
Okay. So the main thing that I learned is that when we accept, you tell me if I'm right, okay, and if I got this. So when we accept a situation, and by accepting, it means something that you can't change. There are so many things happening around us and within us that we can't change, right? And it's in our, it's our choice to accept or live in denial. When we decide to accept these things, it comes with pain, because it is painful. These are things that we wish they were different, but they're not. So it comes with some pain, but you can still be happy if you get to accept them. I love that concept of
100%. You got it right, and I'll go a little bit more deep into it. I usually explain that when we watch the typical movies when we're little, there's always it's always black and white. The whole movie, it starts everything white and everything's great and everything's amazing. Then you have the suffering part where everything's black and there's this bad guy and everything's going wrong. And then suddenly the movie ends with happily ever after, which again turns everything white again. So it's really hard to accept life when we have this idea that everything's either good or bad. And when it's bad, we have to fight against reality because we cannot accept this reality. This is not what I expected from life. So we're always, we have these expectations, which I believe are like poison. And there's a difference between having goals and expecting things to turn out a certain way. So when we have these very rigid expectations of everything, of people, of the weather, of I don't know what else we have expectations, a job, or from ourselves even. Then it's really hard when things go south because that wasn't what I was expecting. So now I'm mad and I'm struggling against a reality that we cannot change. So if we had this, I'm going to give you a little example that has nothing to do with coronavirus, but I always like to give this example so we can then start applying it to whatever it is that we're trying to accept. And I'm sure that it's not coronavirus that we're trying to accept, is what it comes with it. It's the events that are canceled. It's maybe our financial situation that it's not gonna have an impact. It's, I don't know, maybe my husband's not so great humor because he couldn't go to his thing or whatever. I'm just giving random examples. I'm sure he's hearing me and laughing, and then he's gonna say something when I go home. And so whatever it is we're trying to accept, it's that. It's instead of struggling with it and I don't like it and I hate it and that just, we cannot accept it because it's a reality that we're living. And we have no control over it. So accepting it, it's not approving, it's not agreeing with what's happening, it's not, it's nothing of what I just said. It's basically acknowledging reality and understanding what is. It's opening the doors to life. And life has amazing things in it. And it also has things that we're not going to like. And that's life. If you think about your life, you're going to remember amazing moments. And then you're going to remember very painful moments. And moving forward, it's going to be exactly the same way because that's life. Life has painful events in it. And I actually begin my workshop mentioning like, what are some events that you're currently not accepting, or what are events from the past that you're not accepting? And I make you write these things down. Or what are some emotions that you're not accepting? By the way, if the video pauses, it's because I just got my 5-minute remaining minutes on Instagram today. So I'm just gonna ignore it. But if it pauses, it's because of that. Or what is some physical symptoms that you're not accepting? And all of this gives you awareness into what is it that you're struggling with and what are those realities that you cannot control and you cannot change, because all of these things that I just mentioned are things that unfortunately we cannot control. And then what do we do to start getting into acceptance? And once we accept, and that's a lot of what Michelle talks about, is where we can start asking, now what? What can I do right now to make my reality a better reality? Because the reality that I have right now, currently, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not liking it. I am suffering.
Exactly. And what you say in the class is that suffering is optional. And I love that concept. It really opened my eyes. And I want everybody here to hear about that. It's so powerful. You said that pain is not optional. Pain will be in your life, you like it or not. But suffering is optional. And suffering happens when we don't accept a situation, right?
Yeah, so I give this formula out. Write it down because this is one of the best formulas. So I say pain plus rejection. So pain, again, pain can be any type of pain. It can be the pain of, I don't know, having a headache, or it can be the pain of somebody passing away, or it can be the pain of being diagnosed with something that you don't like, or the pain of having coronavirus,
or disappointment,
or disappointment, or the pain of having to deal with a person in your life that you don't like their personality. You know, if you're working and you don't like your boss, so it's the pain of having to go to the office and have a relationship with this boss, or the event's canceled. So when you add rejection, and how do we add rejection? We add rejection when these are the typical thoughts that we have when we're rejecting. And that's, this is not fair. This shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be this way.
Oh, why me?
Why me? I hate this.
So unfair. Right?
Exactly. So when we have those thoughts, which is a fight against the reality, it's equal to suffering. And when we're suffering, the difference between pain and suffering is that I always describe life as we're driving. Yeah, good. Amazing. So we're driving, right, in this highway or whatever. And then suddenly when we enter a state of rejection, we go into a roundabout. And we start circling around the roundabout. And so we're not moving forward. We're stuck. So every time you feel that you're stuck in your life, that feeling of stuckness, which I hear a lot here in my office, that means that you're rejecting reality. So when we accept, we go back into the highway. You say highway, right? Is it a highway? ¿Cómo se dice calle?
Like a street, right?
Yeah, you go back to the street. You go back to driving, moving forward. And then there's another formula, which is pain, again, plus radical acceptance is equal. And this is where everybody says happiness and tranquility, whatever. No, it's equal to pain. So what I say here is that pain is part of life. And when you accept, so for example, the pain of somebody passing away, or the pain of having your events canceled, you're not going to like it. You know, when you think of all the events that you were very excited about, you're going to feel some type of pain, but you're going to be moving forward. And pain and happiness can coexist. With pain, you can move forward. With pain, you can feel joy. With suffering, you cannot. And that's the big difference. And that's what I try to really help my clients understand, because when we're in a black and white state, it's very hard to think that we can actually. It was the 5 minutes.
I was like, no.
So again, with pain, you can actually move forward, and you can do great things in your life. Maybe Michelle can do online workshops in this period of the canceled events. You know, we can try to figure out what are we gonna do now that we accepted this reality that we cannot control.
And I think that it's really important that once we accept it, we get to be proactive about it. Because before accepting it, when we're like in that denial stage, we are being passive, and we are, you know, the world is taking us in the direction that the world wants to take us. Maybe is panic, you know, like the news just wants us to be panicking and going shopping for like groceries and toilet paper and all of that. And then we start doing those things, and we forget to be proactive about what do we want to do and how do we want to, take advantage maybe of the situation. Because the other day someone told me this over DM, and she said a saying that says like, when there's misery, some people cry and some people are selling like Kleenex or whatever. I don't know the word, pañuelos.
Wow, I love it.
And I was like, yeah, let's start selling Kleenex, like what can we do about it? How can we be proactive and not wait? Because it's so comfortable to just wait and see, and it's uncomfortable to say, okay, what can I do about it now? What can I do today? So today I was just thinking about that. How do I start again my online course that I gave in November, and I can do it again, for example, right? Like, why wait if we can do things now? But the only way to make that decision is if when we accept the situation that is happening.
Exactly. Yeah,
otherwise,
100%.
right, we stay in denial and we're like, no, this is not possible. And what's the benefit of that? Really?
There's no benefit. You either stay stuck or you make the situation worse, because if you're fighting a reality that you can't change, and then definitely the emotional experience is going to triple. Okay. And that's where when suffering comes in. And if if you're having a really harsh emotional reaction, then how are you helping, I don't know, your family, your kids? How are you managing this crisis at home? Like, now it's not only the crisis of coronavirus or the events canceled or the quarantine wherever you're at. No, now you're making a crisis at home, where you're also are supposed to be supporting each other, hearing each other out, empathizing with each other. No, now we're in attack mode. Be careful what you do, because I'm so mad and so reactive that I'm going to end up yelling at you and you're going to end up yelling at me. So you don't want to make a double crisis, do you? So it's really important, definitely, to radically accept and ask, like, what is the situation requiring of me? Is it requiring me for me to breathe, to do some meditations, to eat well, to call the people I love to see if they're okay? Is it requiring of me to do these events online, or to start saving more, to maybe think of all the monthly subscriptions that I have of things that I don't even use and start canceling them because I need to save more money because I'm not going to be making so much money this month. So, like, trying to figure out what is it requiring of me. I think
Definitely.
Yeah,
that's exactly what we're doing. Adam immediately, because he's a finance person in this home, so he was like, immediately stop all the spending, and it's hard because we just moved to a new home. We spend we spend a lot of money in new furniture and so many things, and suddenly we're like, should we be returning the couch or like the carpet or something? Because this was very unexpected, out of the blue, and we had no idea it could impact us so hard. But yeah, that's not the answer. I think it's moving forward. What are some of the wise decisions that you can start making today? And that's a great way to look at it. And you will feel so much better about yourself if you are proactive right now. You will feel more like in control of a situation.
Yeah. If you're in a relationship, I was going to say that if you're in a relationship and you feel that this is affecting you, be curious about how is it affecting the other person in the room, because usually it's not the same as it is affecting you. Like, usually, because every time there's a situation that we're not accepting, there's also a meaning that we're giving to the situation. Like, we really have to pay attention of because I'm sure if we start talking about how is this issue of coronavirus affecting you and how it's affecting me, I'm sure it's it's completely different. The meaning that you're giving to this event will be completely different than the meaning that I'm giving to this event, the interpretation that we're giving. And in order to help each other, then we need to be very curious about what's going on for you. How is it affecting you? What are your fears for the future? And this is where we're going to be able to validate our pain and say, you know what? Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. The other day I was with this person, somebody that I deeply love, that she got diagnosed with cancer. And when she was telling me what was going on, my response was it sucks. And she told me, thank you for telling me that. Thank you so much for telling me that. Like every time I talk about my experience with someone, they start saying it's gonna get better and think
You will get through
positive.
this.
You will get, yeah, like all of these positive messages that she tells me, I feel that it invalidates my pain because nobody likes to get diagnosed with cancer, and it truly sucks, you know. And here I am, like voicing my pain, and all these people are responding me with like this positive messages that in my mind is like, yeah, it's really nice to say, but is it, you know, how much is true about that? Like it just sucks. And if I want to cry, then just let me cry and just be with me in my pain. And when I said that, which I was really trying to validate her pain, and I think for me it's obviously an advantage that I know all this stuff because I kind of know what not to say because I've studied it, but she really, really appreciated it. So I think in midst of a crisis, I think it's really important to, again, access what's going on with the other person and how can I validate their pain and how can they validate my pain? How can I ask for what I need right now?
Yeah, actually, I think it's great that you gave that example because I don't know if you've heard of Emily McDowell. Have you heard of her?
I think you've told me.
I've talked about her in the past, but she went through cancer and she had a friend then that went through cancer, and she realized that when people go through that, the people around them have no idea how to react and say all those things that really don't help. So she created a line of cards, and that's her business now, like, you know, greeting cards, but I think they're called honest cards, and they're for the situations that actually exist or something like that. It's so good. And then the cards, she has a whole section for cancer, for example, and it says something like things like, let me punch in the face the next person that says that this was supposed to happen, or like it will get better.
Everything happens like for
that.
A reason.
You know, it's just
yes.
That one, and then she has another one
that's
that is
the
great.
worst.
And I think I know all of them by heart, but one of them says, if this was God's plan, God is a terrible planner. And, you know, 100%. It's just like,
I know. Yeah. I remember the other day, another friend, somebody passed away, and she was crying, and another friend of mine came, and she said, you can't cry, you have to be strong for your family. And I'm standing there breathing, not knowing what to do. And I'm sure this person said it because she wanted to be supportive, and this is how she was modeled to be supportive. You know, you have to be strong, you can't cry, you can't feel. And she was just repeating, you know, and it was really hard for me to watch. When this friend left, I told her, you can cry and actually cry, you know, it's part of the process. Feel the pain, you know, it's not easy. But yeah, these are the things that we're getting modeled, you know, it's all the positive messages, which is just denying the pain, which is, again, it's part of life.
Right.
So I love those cards. I want to buy them.
Yes, I will post. I put her name here so you can find her, but I'll share it later also. And going back to like coronavirus and all of it, I don't know about you guys, but I went through this like roller coaster the other day when I realized that it was affecting me, where in the morning I was like this. Not like in terms of like, so happy. No, I was working like this, working so hard, running like I do every day of my life, because it's like we're in this race against ourselves or against the world, depending on you. Me, it's against myself. Like I want to run as fast as I can, you know. I guess it's like a race with my future self or something. I don't know, but because I want to get done everything so fast, and I don't allow myself, like I don't give myself permission to rest most of the time. I'm just like, no, go. And so I was running and building this presentation and learning it, and then answering all the emails and reaching out to all the people to do my book tour and my book launch and all of it. And I was like, go, 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 go. And suddenly my friend from Google, that she was planning an event for me, texts me and shares with me this information that Google is canceling all of their events until May 31st. And that my speaker friend, Kindra, tells me like, hey, actually I got my events for this month, most of them cancel. And then my other friend, speaker friend, Tasha, was like, I got 8 events cancel for this month. And then suddenly I was like, okay, what now? Do I want to keep running like crazy? Or I kind of feel like chilling at this point. So I was like, I went to my couch and I'm like, I want to watch a show on Netflix right now in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week. Like, I don't feel like running anymore. And then I realized that maybe I was exhausted and I didn't even realize how exhausted I was. I was just asking so much from myself. And suddenly in the roller coaster, I was here and then I'm like, let me chill. And you know what helped me chill? The fact that the whole world is going through the same thing, that every other speaker is going through the same thing. You know, the person that planned the event is probably way more stressed than I am. And then I'm like, I felt like that permission to slow down. And I feel like maybe the world, I don't know, I'm just interpreting things here.
I think love what you're saying. I need to hear this, please.
Yeah, the world needs to slow down. And this is the only way that we can do it. Because if we feel that the world keeps going and we don't, then there's a lot of pressure on ourselves. But once we feel like everybody is in their couch chilling because they can't go to events themselves or go to work or, you know, make progress in life, then we're like, maybe we can chill for a little bit. And it feels kind of good.
Look, so many people putting hearts and saying that this is exactly what they needed to hear. 100%. This is exactly what I needed to hear. Bye. Life ended. I'm going to chill.
Right? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Definitely. I think it's a sign from God and the universe.
It's really weird. It happened exactly the same to me. I grabbed a paper and I started writing down everything that all the projects that I had going on. And it was like, whoa, like, yes, I need to chill. Yeah. And yeah, 100%. I don't know why we feel like when all of this happens, we start racing. Like, I don't know. Yeah, we panic and we start like trying to be productive, but we're actually like adding more stuff to the list. And when actually we need to slow down and understand that, we're 100% in the middle of a crisis, and it's a world crisis, and it's coming our way. And there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. That's part of we need to start radically accepting that we have no idea where this is going, even though we would love to know, to have a date where this is over, that we're not right now.
Yes. Actually, this takes me back to a book. I haven't read this book, but still I'm going to talk about it because I heard a really good podcast about it. And you know Simon Sinek. So Simon Sinek wrote Start With Why. That's why he's so popular. But then I think the most recent book that he launched is called The Infinite Game. And it talks about us being in this race as if we need to finish project and project and project, while we actually are in the infinite game. And this game lasts your entire life. And so you don't need to work, rush yourself into finishing these small projects. When you look at it in the larger scheme of things, then it's about, I don't remember exactly why it was so awesome, but I think it kind of goes with what we're talking about. And this coronavirus is part of the infinite game. And it's just a way, maybe the universe telling us to slow down, take things more, I don't know, with calm, I guess, like relax a little bit. And then we will get back up. This will change again, but maybe it will help us appreciate a lot of the things that right now we were giving for granted. And
I agree.
and we need to acknowledge them a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe focus, like if you're forced to stay at home, then what is something that I can do at home that maybe I've been putting for later and now it's my chance to do it. A lot of times we don't think about those things because we're so focused on the news and what we're not doing. And if we stop for a second and we think, okay, now I'm forced to stay at home, what can I do right now? And it doesn't have to be about running and not slowing down, but maybe, I don't know, like for example, I've been procrastinating and doing ¿cómo se dice? Limpieza de closet.
Like cleaning your clothes.
Yeah, maricondo.
Maricondo style. Yeah. Taking care of your apartment, of your house.
Taking care of exactly. Yeah,
definitely.
Or spending more time with your family, whatever it is. But again,
and I think the key is to do those things without the guilt. Because we were maybe still doing those things, but with a lot of guilt. Every time we were doing something that is not work related, that will not take our career to the next level, then we do it because we have to. But with this guilt on our shoulder, weighing us down, and maybe now we get to do it without the guilt. And I hope we can use that into the future, like take that to the future with us as well. Even coronavirus disappears, hopefully it will disappear. I don't know. But Stephanie, since I only attended your first class of the workshop, I'm curious, and can you share? So just so you know, guys, the first class is mostly about what we were talking today, way more in detail with lots of exercises.
Way more in detail.
It's like 3 hours, 4 hours.
It lasted 4 hours. It was supposed to be 3 hours, but people ask a lot of questions that I love because it goes, we get more deep into the concept. But it was, the class Michelle attended was 4 hours and we only spoke about radical acceptance. Just imagine of how deep this goes. But it goes into literally everything that we're rejecting, everything, even like, we also reject ourselves. Like, what are the parts of yourself that you're rejecting? The parts of your personality, of
your physical
personality
self.
Of your also or from your partner or from your mom or your son that you're rejecting. Or there's a lot of things that we reject, and mostly we reject emotions. There's a lot of emotions that we reject. And there's people that reject the negative emotions, and there's also people that reject the positive emotions because they're afraid of getting too excited and then getting disappointed. So every time they start feeling happiness, they reject it. There's people, everybody's different. But we go into what are we rejecting and what are the little steps that we need to make, and I break it down for you of how to get to radically accepting a situation or whatever it is that you're rejecting.
And you're going to be offering this program online, right?
Yeah, so usually I do it here in Miami face to face, but now I'm going to start doing it online because a lot of people in my community don't live here and they really have been asking me to do it online. So I'm doing it online for you guys. Very excited.
Please leave the information on your story.
Yes.
Now, like after this live, so they can swipe up and at least know where to find it, because it's so important. And so that's the first class. And then what are the other 4 classes like? If you can go briefly about those.
So here's Michelle going crazy. I know, I'm very excited too. The second class we talk about, usually there's 3 classes. So the second class, that's the class that I'm adding. And we're going to go very deep into emotions. Like, I want to make sure you guys understand emotions, because when I started this process of educating myself so I can become a therapist and then educate others, I had a really big misconceptions of what emotions were. And when I really understood each emotion and what was deep into each of those emotions, I started to be very aware of them and what type of information were those emotions bringing to me. Because emotions are there to give us information, that's all. They're not good, they're not bad, they're just there to bring us information. Just like our feet are helping us to walk, emotions are there for us to listen and understand the messages that they're bringing for us. And that's the more we understand our emotions, the more we're able to cope with them and to cope with the situations that are triggering those emotions. The third day, we talk about communication, which I'm a relationship therapist, and I see that every single time I get a couple here, or a mom and daughter, or sister and brother, or whatever relationship I end up seeing here in my sessions, I see the communication patterns that are so destructive. And I always talk about them. They're either very passive, where you are so scared of the reaction of others, or of creating any type of conflict, or the anxiety that it brings having an uncomfortable conversation, that you end up putting it under the rug. And that's not healthy, because you're not being real, you're not being transparent with this other person that you love. So they're not really getting to know your real self.
And to me, for something that was really interesting one time that you shared this with me, is that you helped two people that you had in your office now. How do you call it? Your office?
Yeah.
To how to ask for like, one person was sorry and he couldn't ask for forgiveness, right? And you said that you helped them communicate
every
that.
time. Yes, every time there's also a lot of hurts from the past that I see here in therapy. And I help them because a lot of people have no idea how to ask for forgiveness. So, and there's a process, there's a way of doing it. So I help them, again, communicating that apology. Or there's a lot of people that they only know how to have an uncomfortable conversation when they're mad, and they do it in a very aggressive way, disrespecting the other person. So that obviously is not going to help. So how can we have that same conversation, but in an assertive way, where you're respecting yourself because you're voicing what's going on, but you're also respecting the other person. So
I think
that's what
really communication is such a vital part of our life, and nobody teaches that. Like, we should learn that in school, in elementary school, how to actually have the conversations that you need to get through in life. And now it's so important that people learn all those skills. I need to learn those skills, so I'm going to take your class online or in person here in Miami.
No, you just talked about that we should be, educated about this. And the issue that I see, I don't know, I saw it when I was growing up, is that the teachers do not have communication skills. They don't. They speak to us in aggressive ways, or they're passive, or they're passive aggressive. Passive aggressive is the typical sarcasm, And I don't know about you, but I grew up and I had a lot of teachers that had no idea how to communicate when they got frustrated. So who are we supposed to model? If we don't have good role models of healthy communication out there. So yes, it's a big issue that I see, and I think it's one of the most important and primary issues that couples have nowadays. And so I give those tools out, and I give exercises. I also give a little book with every single concept and exercises for you to take home, and I'll give it in the course online as well, in a PDF document. And the last day we talk about boundaries, which is one of my passions.
That's the one I need the most. Boundaries. Yeah. Assertivity, right? Also.
No, assertiveness is the communication.
It's in the communications, okay. Oh my God.
Exactly. So in order to set boundaries, we need to learn assertiveness, because we can set boundaries in very aggressive ways, but that's gonna distance ourselves from our relationships. And you don't want that. You don't want people to distance themselves from you because they're scared of you. No, you want people to respect you. And the only way to get respect, it's not by having them fear you is by having them, like admire you. So, and they're gonna admire you when you start voicing all of these things that you're not able to voice right now because you're scared of their reaction or whatever it is you're scared of, when you start voicing it in a very assertive and respectful way. And that's the last day of my workshop, and I think it's the day that most people want to talk, so it ends up being like 5 hours.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it's hard. I see that. Yeah, every single person has an issue with that, and I'm actually giving a talk about boundaries and assertiveness the 30th of March. I hope it doesn't get canceled because of coronavirus, but it's supposed to be here in Miami. So let's hope, let's pray.
Yeah, if you're in Miami and you can go to that talk, I know it's going to be amazing because I already heard half of it and I was like, I need to hear the other half because it's that good. And people are asking here if the course is in English or in Spanish, the one that you will do online.
So it's gonna be, that's like the worst question. It's gonna be in English. I might, so I'm putting a form, okay? That's you're not yet able to buy the course. I'm gonna put it out there probably tomorrow for you to buy. But for now, the only thing I'm doing is I'm putting up a form, and there you can select if you speak English and Spanish, and depending on how many people are interested and that speak Spanish, I'll start a course in Spanish as well, parallel to the one that I'm gonna do in English. Okay, so I might be do both languages at the same time on different dates.
No biggie.
So go to my profile, select the link that I have in my bio. I will put it in my stories as well, and just fill out the form, and I'll send you an email when this course goes out and to the public. And I'm very excited. Thank you, Michelle, for recommending it. I know you enjoyed it and loved it, and I can't wait for you to come to the rest of my course.
I know, I'm halfway there. Well, not even half. I only did one class and it was like mind-blowing. So I have to go to the other ones.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that now I live here in Miami and I can go to the one that you probably will give in person hopefully soon. If coronavirus keeps us all alive and healthy.
And all of these tools, to be honest, they're also in your book, right? Yeah. I mean, in your way of explaining it, which is amazing, and I know they're also in there. So again, if you haven't bought Michelle's book, buy it now in pre-order.
And
you're gonna help her.
Yeah, and just so you guys know who are watching the live, Stephanie helped me a lot with my book. So many of the things about even the radical acceptance is in there because you helped me add it to the book. So I do include some of these concepts. I even talk about Stephanie at some point when I'm talking about authenticity in there. So definitely, if you like Stephanie, if you like me, then this is a no-brainer that you need to get this book ASAP, guys, because it will be out there very soon.
Michelle sent me for me to revise it and tell her what I thought, and I saw a paragraph that talked literally about radical acceptance in her words. So that's when I told you about the formula. I think the formula is in there.
Maybe I talk about the dialectal. What's the name?
Dialectical behavioral therapy. These are all concepts of dialectical behavioral therapy.
So interesting. Yeah. All right, so I'll leave you guys so you can go to her story, swipe up, vote for the Spanish or English version of the course, put your email in there so that she can reach out once the course is out, probably tomorrow. So, out for purchase. And I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you guys feel a little bit better about the situation that we're all encountering. So we're all in this together. Please leave us your comments. And thank you so much, Stephanie, for making space for this live. I know you're super busy. But
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I love being here with you. I think kind of talked in the past of doing a live together, but again, yeah, we're both so in our stuff that we always procrastinate, and I think this was the perfect theme to talk about. Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much all for joining us, and talk to you soon.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.